Oh, y'all ever been to like a really ghetto buffet? Like a really, really ghetto buffet? Because when I was in America, I've never been to like a more ghetto buffet than the one I did. And it was insane. Like the amount of, first of all, I love buffets, okay? Uh, I always go to a buffet for birthdays within my family, and my family just loves going to buffets for some reason. And there used to be more variety here in Canada, or at least in Toronto, where I'm at. But these days, there's actually not that many buffets, and it kind of stinks because I really liked going to a really ghetto buffet because we had a pretty ghetto buffet here where we were at, but it's gone now because it obviously shut down, and a lot of that had to do with COVID. But I really loved that place. It was really cheap, and again, it was a buffet, so you could get all the food that you want. And it had the most important thing that for me, for any buffet, which was just that it had sushi. And most of these buffets that I'm talking about are like Asian cuisine, mainly Chinese food and some other stuff. But you know, it's just like they had just a good variety for an okay price. Okay, you know, like the ghetto buffets are like usually like they're cheaper than the actual good buffets, and you know the good buffets are really just overpriced, to be honest. They're not even like that much better, but you pay more just because they're more well known, and you know at least you know you're not gonna get like food poisoning or anything, you know, because buffets can be like really unsanitary. That's the only other problem with buffets. So, you know, like there's so much food and everyone's like using the same tongs and shit, you know. So like if you're really not like into that, then yeah, buffets are probably not for you. But in America, we went to this really, really ghetto buffet, and I'm talking like super ghetto. There was, first of all, only people of color at this buffet. That's how you know it's really ghetto. Not a single white person. And for some reason, there was just so many like Mexican and Spanish families. And we're talking every table is a party greater than like 8, like double digits probably for each table. And that's crazy because my family, you know, I have two brothers, and you know, like I was with my parents, so we're a table of 5. In like Canada, or at least where you know where I'm at, like that's actually like a pretty decent size, you know. Most of the time when I'm at like buffets here, it's just elderly people, you know, like 2 of them, or you know, like the occasional birthday party. But you know, it's not really that many, you know, we're not talking a family more than, you know, I would say 5 or 6. It's really just those type of families that come in. But we're talking parties of 10, parties of 12, parties of 15, and we're talking like, dude, there was like like in our section alone, like 5 of these 5, and I'm not exaggerating, man. It was kind of crazy, and they're, you know, most of them are kids, and they're like running around and stuff, and honestly, you know, I felt like, holy crap, I'm in like freaking I don't know, some one of these people got to be low-key illegal, you know what I'm saying, like from like these guys are low-key hiding from Trump, you know, because like damn, how the heck they got so many of them in here. And low-key I feel like a lot of them be staying at like the buffet for like an eternity, because why are they there, and why are they there for so long? We were there for like 2 hours, and they were like, there was families there that were still there since we were like since the beginning, and it was crazy. There were so many people, so many, and the way that they prepare the food, you know, it's just like any other buffet. You know, they just have them in the trays or whatever. You grab your plate and you just get whatever. But man, the serving portions in America, or maybe just at this buffet specifically, was crazy. I've never seen sushi have so much rice on it before. And low-key, I was scared because I was scared to get food poisoning, because you know the place was so worn down, and it was like, man, I don't even know if this shit was safe to eat. But I'm like thinking to myself, well, if all these people are here, it must be good. You know, there was like a pastor that came in with his entire African, you know, clan. Because you know the African clan got to have their family plus the pastor. So you know, like that's how I knew it was legit. That's how you know it's legit. I can't lie. If the African family got the pastor with them, yep, must be bussin'. But again, more than anything, the reason why we went is because the price was fair. Well, not even fair. It was actually dirt cheap compared to what we pay here in yeah, Canada, Toronto, because in Toronto it's like $40 to $50 per person. That freaking, it was a Sunday, it was a weekend, okay, and it was a dinner. Usually those prices are a lot more expensive, and it was only $20. Even with the conversion, that's like 30 per person. That's a solid $20 less than what you know, you would spend in Canada. And I was like, wow, that is, like, we were all in awe and shock, and it was really good. And again, we were actually celebrating my father's birthday. That's why we were even going to the buffet. And again, it was during our America trip, and it was just crazy. I've never seen a more ghetto buffet in my life. I've been to some pretty ghetto buffets, but that one is definitely on top of the list. I can't even remember the name of the place. Also, the other thing about these buffets, it's just really unfortunate. I just feel really bad for the servers, because again, they clean up so much stuff. You know, again, even just my family, right? A family of 5. Like, I don't know how many plates. I mean, we were hungry, you know. We just came back from a long day of just, touring, you know, the state or whatever. But you know, we came in and we were all hungry, and you know, that was our, like, we didn't eat lunch, and you know, we had quite a few plates. Like, even myself, I had like 3 plates, you know, almost 4 plates, and you know, they had to clean it up, and then plus my, you know, let's just say everyone was eating at least 3 plates, which I'm telling you now, they did not eat only 3 plates. You know, we got some big backs in my fam. Not me though. I'm actually the only skinny one in my family to be, like, that's not even a joke. That's just like me being, like, I'm not trying to be harsh on my family, but that's just the truth. And you know, like, you know, we had quite a few plates down in the buffet area, down in the buffet, and it just, I felt really bad, because you know, like, they kept coming and they kept cleaning it up, and I kept saying thank you. And yeah, you know, they're you know, shout out those hard-working Asian folks. You know, sometimes you just got to be, you know, working the hard. And I think that's also something that kind of made me a little bit, I don't know, not I didn't want to say like feel sorry for them, but it's just like, you know, I don't think I've ever worked as hard as them, obviously. But at the same time, like, not even that, it's just like, I was just thinking, like, even the servers in Canada compared to the ones like in these buffets, like this ghetto buffet, like I can't imagine, like, they're like 100% getting way less than the ones here, and they're getting overworked, and it's like they have to deal with like all these, you know, these families and stuff like that. It's just, you know, I don't know, I felt really bad, and I don't know, I was just thinking to myself, you know, at least I'm not like one of these workers, you know, like, no offense, like, I was just like thinking to myself, like, dang, that, you know, I'm here having a vacation, and these guys are just like on a Sunday doing work. They doing work, you know. Damn. But you know, I don't know the whole story. Maybe it's really dead on the weekdays, and just happens to be that one day, and they're just like doing nothing. So I don't know. You know, I'm just being too lighthearted on them, too easy on them, because I just had that one experience, you know, a little bias there. But, you know, respect to them, you know, and I respect the work culture, you know, hardworking folks, you know, with the Ghetto Buffet. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, I think I really did get food poisoning, because I had some really bad bad number 2s, you know, bad washroom visits. My stomach was low-key hurting like 2 days later. Oh my gosh, that roll read was crazy. Oh, come on, the platform was there. Okay. And yeah, honestly, I don't, like, it was worth the food, but like, I don't know if it was worth the stomach pain. Like, that was really bad, I can't lie. And yeah, that was just like what I want to talk about today, my America, like ghetto buffet. I can also talk about some world events that happened. Shout out Russell Westbrook, you know, he retired today. That was pretty sad. I like Russ. He's one of my first players I ever watched in the NBA. OKC Thunder was like the first team I ever like really rooted for. And it was only because they were blue. I'm not gonna lie, like, blue is my favorite color. And then my brother was rooting for the Miami Heat, because Well, he's a big LeBron fan, so he was rooting for Miami. And I like usually what happens in like sports and stuff, like I don't really like cheering for the same team like my brother cheers for. Like we're always like opposite for some reason. Most of the, like back then, I mean now it's kind of like we're kind of even on like who we root for. But back then when we were kids, we used to like root for the other teams. Like when the Golden State Cavaliers era was happening, like my brother actually switched up. He stopped being the LeBron fan. He actually started being Curry fan, and then he started rooting for the Golden State Warriors because he loved Curry. And then I was like, you know, screw that. I like the Cavs. And to be honest, I actually really like the Cavs because of Kyrie. Kyrie is one of my favorite basketball players ever. I even have his shoes. So, you know, shout out Kyrie. He's one of my favorites. That's why I actually really like the Cavs. I mean, I also love LeBron, but I just liked Kyrie a lot. So, yeah, that was that. And, you know, shout out, you know, like Westbrook. He was like my first ever, you know, like my first ever team I really rooted for when I was a kid. It was, oh my gosh. It was OKC, and honestly, I was a big Charlotte Hornets fan. Not Charlotte, New Orleans Hornets fan, because I really liked Chris Paul, who also retired. So, you know, I guess also shout out Chris Paul. But he did not retire today. And so that was pretty big. Another big thing that happened was Speed and Kai Cenat beat Minecraft Hardcore, which I'm actually kind of sad about because it was really good content. I can't lie, it was really funny seeing them like lose and die and you know, crash out after dying. I saw the Piglin one where he shoots the bow and arrow and then he digs a hole. Oh my gosh, I saw that live. I think I was like dying, bro. That was crazy. I can't believe I saw that live. But yeah, honestly, I was kind of sad that ended because low-key, now what am I gonna watch? What am I gonna wake up and look forward to, you know? Like I woke up every day just to see how they were doing, you know, and I'd be like, oh wow, they made some progress. Then I'd tune in like an hour later, I'm like, oh, back to square one, Mississauga. So that was kind of crazy, but you know, good for them, you know, finally they can take a break or whatever. And you can see they beat all the Minecraft bosses. Honestly, their warden fight was actually kind of like, I didn't even think of that, like, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I was just thinking like they were gonna go hand to hand, but yep, they just shot him with bows, and that makes a lot of sense. That made a lot more sense than what I was thinking. And I knew after if they could kill the warden that it was over, honestly, because they were really prepared. You honestly, like, who gets totems for the Ender Dragon? Like, no one. I don't think I've ever seen anyone have a totem for the Ender Dragon. That's crazy. Raid farm before the Ender Dragon. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But you know, it was still good old fun. We're thinking of having a hardcore world between me and some of the homies. I really hope that it doesn't. You know, I'm really hoping that we actually do. I mean, honestly, I don't know why I'm saying like we can't. We definitely can, but with how my life is set up, currently, you know, I haven't had really much time to be playing and all that. But Minecraft is literally the best game of all time. Like that's no joke. And I do want to beat hard. I've never beaten hardcore with my friends before, so it'd be really fun to play and see if we can beat it together. Again, I don't think it'd be that hard, but you know, never say never. You know, there's so much stuff happens, and even if I have top 200 speedrunner with me from 2020, I think it'll be still a hard task. What else happened today? Nothing else really. Ooh, I know, something really big happened. Steve Lacy dropped his concert tour, and I'm really excited. I'm really hoping I can get tickets, but then I found out what stadium he's at, and he's at a stadium that's like really small, only holds up to 7,000 people, and he's a pretty decently big artist now, and like that's not enough seats to fill up. I mean, sorry, it's not enough seats for how big he is. Like that's gonna sell out quick, and yeah, I'm gonna be very sad if I can't go to this. But you know, let's just hope I've got luck on my side, I guess. But other than that, nothing really else happened. Watch this kill. Ah! Dang it, I missed. Oh my god. That would have been such a perfect ender. Now I have to kill this Zelda, like... Ooh, ooh, that was really bad. I thought I'd kill myself. Watch this, he's gonna roll in. Oh, never mind. That would have been much perfect if I got that hit on the freaking air dodge, but I mistimed it. Anyway, shout out Greninja and all the Greninjas. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next video. My last video was doing kind of good, I'm not gonna lie, but it's because you guys like the thumbnail.